Hi, you guys. It's Jade here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome to our first 10-minute talk. This will be about the 18th and the 22nd degrees. I asked you guys to give me a video suggestion, and I was going to pick one and do it. And somebody suggested the 18th and 22nd degrees, and I picked this one because I figured this one was a really good one to do because I have a lot of tweets on these degrees, but they're scattered. Obviously I tweet every day, so it's kind of hard for somebody to find information on it. And then the way Twitter is set up with searching for things, if you put in like 18th and 22, it might not come up exactly the way it's supposed to. So here is one cohesive video on the subject. I'm going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. So let's start with the 18th degree. This is considered the diabolical degree by Nikola Stojanovic. He coined the term. It is a Virgo degree. Let me first start off by saying that just because it's called the diabolical degree, it does not mean that you're evil. It does not mean that the devil is plotting on you or anything like that. That's just the terminology he uses. He does speak and talk and communicate in extremes. That's his communication style. But upon further research, those are the extremes. He mainly talks about the extremes. He doesn't really just talk about the more simple ways that these degrees can express themselves. And even if they do come out simply, when I say simply, I mean you're not going to die. That's what I'm saying. All right, so the 18th degree can show someone who can meticulously plot, or it can show something that was meticulously plotted. And these plots don't have to necessarily be evil. Now, an example of a meticulous evil plot is like the anime Death Note. If you've seen Death Note, you're going to know what I'm talking about. If you've never seen Death Note, I'm going to tell you. Long story short, it is a back and forth between a detective and this teenager who both meticulously plot against each other throughout the entire show. And the way they're able to deconstruct things and figure out all these details about each other and then put them together to try to get each other back and forth. It's crazy. If you haven't seen Death Note, at least just watch the first 3 episodes. Guarantee you're going to get a really, really good idea of what I mean when I say the 18th degree is about somebody who can meticulously plot. That's also where that diabolical word comes from, because the way those two niggas were doing it in the show, that shit was diabolical as hell. That was the evil side. Another example of the bad side, the literal evil diabolical side, is emo black thought comes to mind. That was, if you don't know, that was the Twitter account who masqueraded as a black woman who was supporting other black women and giving them a platform and a voice and blah blah blah. Whole time it was actually a man. I think he identifies as a man. Whole time it was a man. It was not a black woman. And they had this big reveal like, hey, here I am, I'm actually a guy. And it was like, what the fuck? Because it was supposed to be like a safe space for black women. That shit was diabolical because emo black thought was very popular. Made a lot of money doing that. Made a lot of friends thinking he was a woman and he wasn't. So that was some diabolical shit. Now, on to the good side of the diabolical part of the 18th degree. The example that came to mind was the Recess movie. The Recess movie is old as fuck. Y'all remember the show Recess from Disney? But I remember at the end of the movie, once we're reaching the climax and it's after the climax, and once they're heading towards the resolution, I think it was TJ who planned some really elaborate plot to get back into the school and get things back to normal. I'm pretty sure you could look up that video on YouTube, that clip from the end. And they just he had everybody on board, and they had all these, little ways they were getting into the school and getting things back. And it was just very meticulous, but it was for good. And TJ actually is a very diabolical character in the show Recess. TJ always comes up with some type of crazy plan, but it's never really for anything nefarious. He's a kid, so it's for a kid thing, something that he wants. It's not necessarily bad. So you see what I'm saying? People who actually have the 18th degree in their chart, usually if it's on the sun, moon, or rising, if it's on a planet, that counts too, especially a personal planet. Usually these people can do these plots, and if it's somewhere in the 7th house or anything like that, it could be other people in their lives who are plotting like this. And like I said, it does not have to be a bad thing. So the second thing about the 18th degree is that it can show a really important detail or a piece of information, something you need to know, something that you don't need to overlook. But the thing about it is you could be overlooking this detail or this piece of information. And the example I have is that think about if you were a parent and your child plays a lot of video games and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of these fucking video games. I hate that my child plays this. I wish they would read more books. Okay, cool, whatever. And then one day your child just stops playing the video games. and you're like, oh, okay. And then days go on, they're still not playing. They just stop playing. And in your mind, because you are biased, the 18th degree can represent something or somebody who is clouded by bias or clouded by harsh criticism and judgment. Because you are biased against your child playing video games, you did not take them stopping their playing as a sign that something was wrong. You were happy about it because you were critical of it, so it was like, but if you had not overlooked that detail, you could have seen that something was wrong. And that leads me into my next thing about the 18th degree, that the 18th degree can show something small or some tiny detail that can make or break a situation. It can really turn the tides, and it can be something that you think is so minor, or maybe it's minor, but you're just like, oh, whatever. Either way, it's something small that can really make or break a situation. And the example I have that I cannot talk to them. The example I have is this. This might be kind of an extreme example, and if you're not Black, you might be like, damn, but this is just how it goes. So the example I have is, imagine if you are a Black person and you're trying to get into an Ivy League school, right? Now, Ivy League schools, I don't think they're known for being racist. I'm not completely sure, but y'all know how it goes when Black people are trying to get into spaces that weren't necessarily ever meant for us, right? So you're Black, you're trying to get into an Ivy League school, and let's say you do a horary chart and you ask the horary, what is the best way for me to get accepted into the Ivy League school? Let's say that 18 degrees of Cancer is rising. 18 degrees being a meticulous plot, something diabolical. Cancer, in this case, let's say you realize, Cancer rules over white people. And this is just an example, I'm just trying to give you an example of how the 18th degree works. Don't take this as like a literal, like just focus on the 18th degree. So we all know that Cancer rules over white people. So 18th degree, Cancer rising, right? So let's say you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, this means that I need to plot as a white person. No, wait. I need to masquerade as a white person because you're Black trying to get into an Ivy League school. So on your applications and shit, you put down that you're white for all intents and purposes, and then boom, you get in. But let's say you didn't do it, and then boom, you didn't get in. It could be something like that. Like, that's just an example of something that can make or break a situation. So it was your race that made or break that broke that situation. That's just an example, but I'm just trying to show you how that can turn the tides for things, because you not getting into the school is a big deal. Like, what the fuck, that small detail, which is your race, which should really be irrelevant to you getting into a school, could make or break you getting into that school, and that could be shown through a horary or through a chart or whatever. Like, that was just an example to show you. And then another thing about the 18th degree is that it can show health issues because it is a Virgo degree. We all know what Virgo is. Virgo is health. It's the body. I think I forgot to mention that earlier, that it's a Virgo degree. But so it can show health issues. And what type of health issues? Usually the health issues shown by the Virgo degree, it's usually something in the body may not be working properly. And when I say working properly, it could be some type of bodily system that isn't functioning. Like, it's like how people say a well-oiled machine. Well, some machine in your body is not well oiled. Like, it's not like, how a car has to function because all the little bitty parts of the car function together to make the car run. Well, it's some little bitty part that's not functioning, so therefore the rest of the body doesn't function. That is a possibility. Usually this is seen especially with the 18th degree of Scorpio, or if the 8th house starts at the 18th degree. It just depends. And on the other side of that, an 18th degree can show somebody with a supreme body, a body that is in very, very good health. Also, people who have the 18th degree, they usually give very excellent advice. One of my best friends, she has 18 degree on her rising, and oh my God, can she give some great advice. It's always very careful, very thought out, and it's like she doesn't even have to think about it. It's just there. It's very unbiased. It's not clouded by judgment. That leads me into my last point about the 18th degree, is that people who have the 18th degree in their chart, usually if it's on the sun, moon, or rising, or if it's on a personal planet, their criticism is usually very valid, and it's based on pure logical fact instead of personal bias. They're usually not clouded by their own personal bias or what they consider. They can usually just see things exactly what they are, how they're going to be, and take all the logical parts from that and put it together in a way that gives you the exact criticism you need. Remember, criticism isn't always a bad thing, you know, or they can just delineate almost anything without their personal bias getting involved. It's really actually quite amazing to see, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm drinking Sprite. So moving on to the 22nd degree. The 22nd degree, it is a Capricorn degree. It is considered the kill or be killed degree. This was also coined by Nikola Stojanovic. Once again, he communicates in extremes, but you know, he's got some points, the kill or be killed degree. So first and foremost, this can be metaphorical or literal. You do not have to be scared or afraid if you have this degree in your chart. Sometimes it doesn't literally mean that you will be killed or that you literally, like your body, your mind and shit, like you as a person will be in danger. Can it mean that? Possibly. Yes, it can. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to often be metaphorical. And just to ease your mind, Beyonce has the 22nd degree all throughout her chart. And she's fine. She's okay. She's king. You know what I'm saying? You're okay. So think about that if you know you get a little freaked out. I understand. So moving on. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be you that's in this danger. So let's say if you had... Oh, wait, going back to that Ivy League example, you know, okay, so you're trying to get into the Ivy League school, right? Doesn't matter your race this time. You're trying to get into the Ivy League school. Let's say you're typing a paper. It was a big, long 20-page essay to get you into the school. You worked on it all summer. You've got 2 days to submit it, you know, and you're going to submit it, but you want to go back and read it one more time, all 20 pages before you submit it. And then you come home and boom. Some way, somehow, your hard drive has been wiped. Everything is gone. The paper is gone. You had it saved, but the hard drive is wiped. It's fucking gone. You worked on it all fucking summer. It's impossible for you to rewrite it in 2 days. And this is the Ivy League school. They got deadlines and other things to do. They don't give a fuck about your paper being erased. You're just gonna have to try again next year or some other shit, right? So let's say you look at the chart of the moment, and the chart of the moment has the 22nd degree of Pisces in the 3rd house. The 3rd house rules over papers, writings, anything that you wrote. Pisces represents loss. The 22nd degree, kill or be killed. So you lost Pisces, the paper, 3rd house, and this killed your chances of getting into the Ivy League school. 22 degrees, boom, it can show up like that. So just because you have 22 degrees in your chart, or if you see it somewhere like that, it doesn't mean that you're going to die. It could show somebody else, or I'm sorry, not somebody, but, or that can be true, but, or something else, you know, that could potentially be killed, or is going to be killed, or was killed metaphorically in that way. So like I said, the 22nd degree is a Capricorn degree. So this shows us that it is a critical moment for success or failure. The 22nd degree shows a critical moment or a critical event or situation or period of time for success or for failure, you know, and usually this will be a very big success or a very big failure. It is critical. Think about the final moments of an NBA championship, right? The last few moments, they're tied damn near neck and neck. They got 1 minute on the clock. Who's going to make the last score to take home the titleship ring? Blah, 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 blah. This is going to make or break the team, going to make or break their pockets, etc. It can be like that because, you know, the failure of losing a big championship or a really big game, it's critical. It's pretty big. You know, it's important for them. Another example of the critical degrees and success and failure is anime finales. Think about the finale of any action anime, like at the end of Dragon Ball Z, when Goku was fighting Kid Buu. You know, Kid Buu was going to destroy damn near the whole universe, and Goku had to whip his fucking ass. It was critical. It was kill or be killed, you know. This was like the final. This is the big moment. Who's going to win? What are we going to fucking do? Or I think about the end of Bleach when Ichigo was fighting Aizen. Or think about when you're playing a video game and you reach the final boss. It's like that. It's like, who's going to win? This is important, you know. It's either it's taken